Hello, and welcome once more into the House of Shenanigans. My name is Caleb. We are playing a little bit of D&D 5e tonight. With me, I have a couple of guys who've been playing here for a few months now, minus one. Um, but real quick, I'll let them give us tell you guys who they are and who their character is, and then I'll recap what happened since it happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we will start. Clyde, if you would please.
Hello, I'm Clyde, and I will be playing our Forge Cleric Gardane. Yes, I'm a Forge Cleric.
Perfect. Jim?
Hey, I'm Jim, and I'm playing the Tabaxi Critter. That is, for lack of a better term, our speedster.
Very good. Eric?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Eric. Excuse me. I am Eric, and I will be playing Ulthane, the Dwarven Vengeance Paladin.
Perfect. And I will be substituting the role of Cajun. Our dear friend Matt is stranded in Melbourne, Australia. He lives in Australia, so it's not as bad as it might initially sound. So last time, I believe, we picked up in the room the day after retrieving uh, Craig from whatever stone statue he was in prior to that, in the town of Horizon. You guys were originally sent there to uh, by or called forth by the mayor Lyndon Bunn, who was hoping that the guild could look into some of the disappearances, sabotaging, thievery, something they didn't really know what it was on their farms. Different farmers were having issues with crops going missing and odd sightings and things like that. You guys had been in town taking a look at that, and you touched on it briefly. You saw a couple of these Thrycreen warriors and a large Ankeg that seemed um, were all together at once. And you guys took care of that prior to dealing with a situation with a Craig imposter. Um, so you saved Craig. You woke up the next day. It seemed like the milestone, which Craig, that you guys had retrieved and given back to Craig, looked like it was out of juice. So Craig spent the day. He said he was going to relax around town. He was going to wait for you guys to get done because you had decided that you wanted to investigate further. You felt like you hadn't completed your mission trying to solve the problem with the disappearances at the crops, things like that. So while you guys were going to go back out and revisit with Grickland and some other places, he was going to run around town and just be available if you needed him. You guys got to Grickland. It looked like the farm was up and running again, and you wanted to investigate the strawberry fields, some of the other locations where the crops were, interview Grickland again, try and get a little bit more detail as you could. And during that process, there was a loud scream from a neighboring farm, and you guys took off to go see what the issue might be, especially once you saw over the top of some of the orchard trees, corn rows, things like that. Another Ankeg seemed to be over there. And actually, what spurned this on was a loud boom. So you guys took off and ran over there. Critter blazed through the field very quickly, while the other three, Gardane, Ulthane, and Cajun, all got a ride on a couple of horses that belonged to Grickland. These horses were standard horses until everybody got on them, and Critter was still outpacing them, so Grickland turned it up a notch, and these horses spread out to be much larger, almost vehicles to a certain degree. But anyway, you guys got over there to find there were a couple of, again, Thri-kreen alongside, almost seemingly possibly waiting on you guys. Critter was in the middle of it first. The Ankh was a little bit further into the orchard, and so you guys were dealing with these Thri-kreen, and all the while, I believe Critter was the first one who spotted them. There was this dark leather-clad figure that was kind of diving through the trees, and every once in a while, you would hear again, boom, boom, and these purple lights would seem to shoot up and land on the face and on the body, and so on and so forth with the Ankh, until eventually the Ankh fell. You guys disposed of the remaining Thri-kreen, and that's when you ran into this leather-clad individual who he introduced himself as Catman Dude. Initially, he introduced himself to everybody. Eventually, it came out that his real name is Snowball, and that he was actually part of a caravan guard that had come into town. He actually followed this Ankh here. Why, you guys didn't necessarily ask at the time. Eventually, he kind of ducked away and went back about his business. And the next thing, once you guys walked back into town, I believe the last scene was that you guys saw a small dwarven man, very well done up. You guys are familiar enough with the way people dress. This guy looks like he's a merchant of some kind, but he was just barking at this young lady who was the assistant to the mayor at the mayor's office. And behind him, he pulled this enormous, wagon caravan. It's, bigger than some of these buildings, and it looked like it was pulled tight black leather that kind of came back into a handful of jagged points on the back side that started at a small point and broadened the further away that it got. Catman Dude, or Snowball, pop back up, and this seems to be the caravan that he was working with. And as you guys were walking over towards the situation, maybe to get a better hear of what was going on, you saw between the dwarven man and the caravan, there was a little bit of space that cut through to the other side of the road, the other side of the center of town here, and there was Craig waving at you. The only other thing that I thought is important to mention is that it seemed like Catman Dude recognized Cajun, but Cajun did not recognize Catman Dude, and it was from he said that he was a part of the guild in Illumina. But that is where we will pick up, right at that scene where that little dwarven man is giving the business to the assistant. And you guys are, 50 feet away. You can't really make out what he's saying, just because there's not a crowd, but some people are starting to gather.
Critter looks around at y'all, seeing Craig, seeing y'all, looking at what's going on, and just begins to stride over toward Craig.
To get to Craig, you would have to either walk around the backside of the mayor's office or the far side of the caravan.
Shortest route.
Shortest route is straight across, but you will definitely be walking through a couple of people, as well as right between the assistant, this dwarf, and Catman Dude.
Okay. I'll do it.
Okay.
Walking right up to it. I get to them. Just continue to walk through, completely just aloof of everything else. I'm going to.
And as you kind of get a little bit closer to it, you can finally start to hear the dwarf. And he says, now they told me that the only reason we were even coming to town was because Mayor Bunn, and you can see him visibly like trying to calm himself down a little bit, but still kind of gritting his teeth when he says certain things. The only reason we even came here is because Bunn said it was safe. Now, clearly it's not. So get his ass out here. I've got something I got to talk to him. And then you kind of walk through, and the dwarf and Gardane and Ulthane, you actually see Catman Dude is standing there with his arms crossed, and he kind of sees Critter coming, and he looks at him kind of out of the corner of his eye. And then as he walks across, he's not paying attention to the conversation at all. He just watches him, and he walks across, and he kind of turns back towards the conversation after Critter's made it through, and he just kind of, you can see him kind of shuffle his shoulders a little bit and maybe giggle under his breath a little bit. But the dwarf sits there, and he's kind of right in the middle of saying something, and he turns around again to say something else, and that's right when Critter passes, and he just like opens his palm and just looks at you as you walk by, doesn't say anything to you, and then just turns back around towards his caravan.
And I'll walk up to the lady, to the lady, and says, "Is everything okay?"
Oh yes. Mayor Bunn is on his way down. This gentleman here, and the dwarf cuts her off. And he says, "The greatest merchant. You can tell him what my." And he kind of looks at you, and he kind of gives you a smile, and he says, "Larna Ott. Just Ott, if you'd like." And he kind of smiles real big, and looking at him closely, this guy is probably 100 years your senior, however old you might be. He definitely shows the wear and tear of more age and more travel, but he, parts of his beard are well kept, and he's got these big jewels all throughout it, but some of it is a little frayed and frazzled, and you can start to see streaks of gray kind of filling through this. It's a darker, kind of very dull brown, but he kind of looks at us and he says, "Ott, if you like."
I said, "So okay, so what's the matter?"
He kind of looks at you, and he pulls out this cane from under his arm, and he sits it on the ground, and he kind of leans on it real hard and kicks his leg to the side, and all of the weight's on that cane now. And he uses his other hand. He's, Bun's the problem. He told me that there wouldn't be any problem bringing the caravan in, but for whatever reason, it seems like he's not good on his word, and that's not the right way to treat people now, is it?
Well, what seems to be keeping you from bringing the caravan through?
The caravan in its entirety is not safe. Now, it is here, obviously, and it's a glorious masterpiece of work, if I do say so myself. But all of my wares didn't make it all the way here, and that's the problem, because I was promised safe passage, and I did not get it.
Well, he was, I guess, what is that? You can't promise everything, so what happened?
And Catman Dude kind of says, about a day's back, part of our load It got picked up, got clinked off the caravan, and we tried to figure out where it was and what was going on with it. And that's actually why I made it to town a little bit ahead of these guys. I've been tracking that large one quite a ways because it seemed like it had something to do with it. It was maybe just guilty by its location, but we had to track that thing down. A couple of my coworkers, they've gone missing, as has a couple of crates of our shipment.
What is it? Was it food stuff? Was it weapons?
And Larna, again, kind of pulls forward, popping the cane up. Larna Ott deals in one thing, and it's spices.
I'll turn and look. Did we know if those bug things had an affinity for spice?
You haven't interacted. Sorry, go ahead.
Not that I know of, brother. No. Are there bugs?
About this time, the assistant kind of moves out of the way, and Mayor Bunn pops out, and he's in full apology mode. He's like, "Oh, sir, I apologize. Please forgive us. There was no way. Honestly." And he looks and he sees you two, and he's like, "And it actually Cajun's with you as well." And he points and he says, "These guys, they're from the guild. I had them to try and look into some odd things that were going on, and I thought maybe it was connected, and I was hoping that the situation would be resolved by now, but it wasn't. Mr. Ott, please forgive me." And Larna kind of leans back and looks upwards, and he strokes his long beard, and he actually reaches a hand in behind his beard, and he pulls out it's a little, not a coin purse, but a sack, a little burlap baggie, so to speak, tied off with a piece of twine. And inside, you can tell that there's something in it, and he kind of bounces it in his hand a couple of times and then puts it back under the beard into his shirt. And all of a sudden there's this like aroma that kind of goes about. And Lyndon, Mayor Bunn, is like, "Oh, Mr. Ott, please, is there no way we can talk you into staying? Please, is there anything we can do?" And Larna turns to you, Gardain. Says, "So you're with the guild?"
That's what most people keep saying.
And he kind of looks you over, and it's should have been obvious by the way you guys are dressed with the red knight, the blue bishop, and the black king. That it's easy to tell who you are, I suppose. So I know that the way that it usually works with you guys is you get paid ahead of time to take care of situations for people who can't handle it themselves. This way, based on the amount of danger that you face, that dictates the cost. So I've got a proposal for you. This mayor has already paid you to take care of his problem, but it seems like he did not fully justify the amount of danger that besieges this countryside. And he kind of turns and he looks out, and a little bit more of a crowd has started to gather. People are still going on about their day and things like that, but almost everybody who walks by either stops and is kind of looking on, or at least stops and looks at this massive black caravan and kind of is like, oh my God, you know, and walks on. And he kind of extends out his hand and then holds his cane out in his other hand when he says this countryside. And he says, so I don't very well know the whereabouts, but and he turns back to Catman Dude and he kind of clicks. He goes, and Catman Dude stands up real tall, and as he does, you see a little fanny pack actually pops out from this black leather attire that he has, and he undoes a couple of buttons and pulls out another burlap sack. This time he bounces it, and you can hear clearly there's some coinage in there. Says, what if we paid you after to get this problem taken care of? And by this problem, I don't care about whatever it is that is plaguing the gardens in this area. What I want is I want my spices back, and I want to know what the hell happened to my men. And if they're still alive, I want them back.
Well, it seems maybe both problems kind of work in coherence. So, guys, y'all want to go hunting spice and lost men?
Sure. Well, then Patsy brought him back. Yeah, sure.
And Cajun, you can kind of see him. He's not that the crowd is making him uncomfortable, but he is sort of half listening to your conversation, and the other half is sort of seeing this. And as the crowd is kind of gathering and things like that, he always steps into a position that's a little bit further away. But he hears you, actually hears Ulthane respond to you, and that kind of gets his attention. And yeah, he kind of gives you guys a nod. Larna says, well, very good. The only condition, of course, that I have, since I'm the man who's paying you here to get this all taken care of, it'll be a nice price for you people. But I'm going to need my man to go with you. And he turns and he looks, and Catman Dude is kind of standing there. And as soon as you guys kind of, your eyes look up to him, he gives you a quick wave.
Fair enough. We have to collect our other cat person, and then we'll be on our way.
Very good. And he kind of turns, and Lyndon is sitting there. Mayor Bunn is sitting there, and he's just kind of looking at everything. And once you kind of agree to it, you can see he's kind of a sigh of relief. And he looks to you, Ulthane, and he kind of mouths the word, thank you. Like helping him in any way possible. So yeah, at this point, I would say that Larna walks into the mayor's office while a couple of other of the caravan guards, staff, it's hard to really tell what they are because they're not armed, but neither is Catman Dude. And he clearly made himself out to be a guard. But they start trying to turn this massive caravan around in this space because they're going to go kind of put it over by where the stables are. And Catman Dude tells you, hey, we're going to go put this up. He's kind of looking around. And at this point, I want to say it's like maybe 3:30 in the afternoon. It's not real late. But he looks at Gardane and Ulthane and Cajun. And he says, since I'm the one who's going to be paying you, and again, he kind of shakes the money around. What do you say we just get a start tomorrow? And he kind of stretches out real wide and says, are you guys staying here in town?
I believe so until we've taken care of all of this.
Very good. I say, if you guys are okay with it, of course. And he keeps looking at like Cajun and like trying to get him to, I don't know. He keeps making moves and gestures towards Cajun, and Cajun is still oblivious. What about after breakfast tomorrow? I could take you back to the spot where they camped out, where we first saw that Ankeg, and then we can take it from there, see what we can't find. How's that sound?
It works for me.
Perfect. Critter, you have walked over to Craig. Craig kind of sees you. He is waving at you, and he sees you walking through. And you walk up to him, and he's still sitting there kind of waving past you.
Eyes locked around his face. Walk up to him, stop 2 feet away from him, and just continue to stare.
What's up, Crits?
Are we going home?
Our
job is finished, correct? We were told to come get the stone and bring it back. Would you prefer to leave in the morning or now?
He kind of looks at you as a little puzzled. He's like, Critter, I don't know, like, what the mission was for you. I don't know what to tell you.
The mission was to come find out what was going on in those fields and then go back.
Says, okay, if that's what Big Cass wanted you to do, then I guess that's between you guys. I'm not the one who gave you any orders.
No offense, but you outrank all of us.
Sure.
And having achieved the job, you could easily take over this situation, sir.
What situation are you talking about, Crits?
And now his eyes are darting back and forth. Us being here. Isn't it protocol to do the job then return? Craig might realize that I've not gone on missions before.
Initially, I'm going to say Craig doesn't.
Okay.
Isn't aware of that, even though it might be obvious.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like, I mean, yeah. Sometimes if you feel like you have completed the spirit of the task, yeah, man. If you feel like this is what Uther asked you to do. Now, and there's something that you specifically know about, since you have been a part of the guild in some form or fashion for longer than the other guys. You are aware of the 3 tenets The first one is to do no harm, and the spirit of that is to essentially don't create a lot of collateral damage, or that sort of thing. That's what do no harm is, and that's number one. Actually, that's the third one. The second one is fulfill to the spirit of the client's request, and the first one, the most important one, is protect the innocent, essentially. And so that's when, if he says, if you feel like you have completed the spirit of the task. Muted.
I have done no harm. I did not destroy any fields or homes or fences. I may have stepped on a crop or two. Is it protocol to pay them back for lost strawberries?
No. And Craig's starting to put it together that you haven't been on very many missions.
I have helped to eliminate foes and pests.
So you've done no harm. Do you feel like you have fulfilled the client's request to the spirit of the request?
Let me go ask him. And I turn and I begin looking for the fat mayor.
And it's about this time that you see Larna and the mayor kind of turn to go inside the building itself.
I'll turn and start walking toward him, focused on them. If once they go on the door, my eyes are focused on the door.
Gotcha. Very good. So Gardain Ulthane, Critter is walking towards you guys.
I'll watch him for a minute and watch him look at the door, and I'll just let him sit there and stare at the door for a minute. It's rude to interrupt somebody. Just to see how long he looks at the door, and then I'll step up next to him and says, "The other dwarf wants us to find his spice and some men. Do you want to go with us, or do you want to keep looking at the door? We're going tomorrow."
We are accepting another job. Uther contacted us, did he? How fortunate that we are so close.
I know, right? It's like just right there. He showed up too, but you wasn't there. So he said that he would have loved for all of us to been here, but we couldn't find you. But it's okay. I made your excuses.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you and your efforts. However, I was speaking with Craig. Yes.
But maybe Craig will, when he goes back or gets a chance, will give the report of you talking to him.
Yes. That sounds great. And then my body turns to meet you, and my head is in my body finally look at you. So what do we do tomorrow? What is it that you accepted on my behalf?
Well, the elder lost some spice, and there's some men missing, and we're taking the other cat dude with us to
Catman dude.
That's his name. He's
Yes.
coming. He's coming with us so we can find out what happened to the spice and the elder's man.
So a rescue mission. It is very good that we were so close for Luther to find us. But two cats bodes well. Where I come from, it would be very bad luck if one of us were a black cat. You never cross paths with a black cat.
I'll have to take your word for it. So we don't really have too many bad luck things where I'm from. So
there are many where I come from.
well, that's good. Sometime you'll have to tell me about them.
All in good time.
Are you going to guard the door, or you want to come and drink with me and my brother?
I will come drink with you. Where is the closest dairy?
No,
Here.
we're not drinking milk.
We are not. I am. Good for the soul.
I see we're going to be firm friends.
Firm. Very firm. Firm like the steel your armor is made from.
I'll lean and look at my brother and with the gleam in my eye and just speak to him in Dwarf. He needs to get drunk.
He just looks back at his brother and just gives him just like this interested look, like perhaps. And just nods. Yes, just nods, just because his brother sometimes makes no sense to him as well. He just nods.
I don't understand the full extent of what you've said, but I've been around enough dwarves to know their words for drinking. And I look at you and go, we are not drunk yet. We have not even begun to drink. You go to the inn, and I'll meet you once I have found the dairy.
Or we could find out if they have the milk there at the bar instead of us having to run all over and find a dairy.
I have found that it is quite uncomfortable to be at a bar and ask for milk.
Just to interject here, you were at a bar in this very town on your first day and asked for milk, and a little girl very excitedly brought you some goat's milk.
Then I have a crap ton of milk. Retcon what I said. That little girl, I must drink her milk.
Oh, I am disgusted. So Craig walks up. You mute yourself. Craig walks up and he kind of sees you guys talking, and he kind of comes up and he's looking at right. He comes and looks at Gardain and Ulthane, and he's just kind of looking at you guys, and he's standing behind where our dear friend Critter is standing, and kind of behind his back, he's like,
I'll just hold my hand up. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to the bar.
Ah, all right. Going to the bar. Are you nice. So I guess you guys are staying a little bit longer to look into whatever the situation is.
Yep, we're going. That cat man dude is going with us, and we're going to find the elders, Spice and Men.
And he kind of puts his hand up when you said Catman duties, and he's looking at you for a second. It's like, wait, and he chuckles. Catman dude? Wait a minute. Is he here somewhere? And he's kind of looking around, and he spots him off in the distance. He's like, oh my God. So, you know what? I'll just tell you later, because the story is much funnier after you've been drinking. But that guy is a total klutz. It's gonna be a lot. This is a great story. And so, if you guys don't have anything else that you'd like to do, it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. You guys haven't eaten today, so you guys are more than welcome to go have a late breakfast, late lunch, or early dinner, whatever you feel comfortable with, along with any drinking that you would like to do. You guys remember that the three-legged dog is the bar with an attached inn. It all is called the Three-Legged Dog, but it's not a tavern. It's two separate buildings. But you remember where that's at. You guys walked out of it this morning.
Oh, good. When we go to the bar, I need to talk to the little girl about the milk.
Okay. Well, we will. Thane, is there anything that you want to do before we talk to a little girl about some milk?
Ponder the meaning of life dealing with my brother when he goes talks, wanting to deal with I believe I would have been better with the dragon. But no, I'll go with my brother.
Perfect. So yeah, all of you, including Cajun, all five of you, walk back over to the Three-Legged Dog. Craig, who is still wearing essentially his guild outfit uniform, goes up to the room and comes back down to the bar, and he's actually changed into commoner's clothes. He's got a white linen shirt that's mostly unbuttoned. The collar doesn't actually fold down, so it's popped upwards. And he's got on a pair of these. They're not pants, so to speak. They cut off right around the knees, and they've got these big pockets on the side of his thighs. And what's probably the weirdest is his foot attire instead of the traditional leather boots that are wrapped around. He has these single pieces of, it's essentially a leather pad and a leather pad on bottom, and in between there is some sort of foam, or like what it looks like is it looks like somebody took a big mushroom toadstool and kind of carved this out and then put a Y pattern of like twine, and and the Y pattern splits up between his toes. So he is he's going to drink. You got it, man. He's a pro. And go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I'm just like I will go order for us, and I'll talk to the bartenders. I need alcohol that doesn't taste quite like alcohol at first.
He kind of looks at you weird. Says the best way to take care of it is if you're trying to mask alcohol, put it on something that's got a more dominant flavor. Mix it.
Well, see, he drinks milk, so I don't really see if it's going to be.
You wanna hide it. Hide alcohol inside the milk.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
My friend needs to experience alcohol.
And he whistles, and the little girl comes around the corner. He says, "Hey, go get some more of that goat's milk for me, please." She says, "All right," and she walks off. And he turns around and he grabs 2 clear bottles, unlabeled, and kind of sits them behind the bar proper. That's kind of behind, so you can't actually see them itself. And he pulls down 4 tiny little shot glasses and or 5 tiny little shot glasses and puts them around. The girl comes back a moment later, and she's got this water skin, and he takes it and he squeezes a little bit into each of these cups, and then he takes both alcohols, and he says, "Yeah, I don't think you're not going to do anything weird, are you?"
No, I'm just going. No.
Okay. And he kind of taps them together and then turns them, and he moves quickly across, and he fills up these 5 little shot glasses. And then he reaches under the bar and pulls out, and he's got this, it's a stalk, S-T-A-L-K of some kind, like a vegetable stalk. And he takes his pocket knife out, and he shreds a little bit over the top of each one, so that just this little curly cue of this white to red to pink stalk drops into it, and it floats up to the top, and it kind of curls out. And he pulls it up, and he sets it down, and he says, "A couple of these, and he should be feeling just about fine, I would think."
Good. And I'll set them to the side, and I says, "Now I'll need alcohol for me and myself and my brother."
And he kind of looks at the 2 bottles, and they're the size of like a fifth, and they're each equally about half full. And he says, "Well, how about these?"
That'll work.
And he says, "Okay," and he sets those to the side. And Craig comes over, and he says, "Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start off with like a Horizon rock slide, and then if we could follow that up with like a Juju smash. I think that's you. Do you want a Juju smash?"
I don't even know what that is.
You know what? Just let's do 5 Juju smashes, 1 for me and then 1 for everybody else. We're gonna be over there. And he takes out a little card, and Ulthane, you have one of these cards in your possession. It's your hero voucher. And he says, "Here," and he slides it and puts it on the table. He says, just charge it to the guild." And he turns around and he says, we're sitting over here."
He looks at his little voucher and goes, So this voucher is good for, it's a credit card for drinks and lodging and such?
It's essentially like a corporate card.
Ulthane looks at his brother, it just dawns on him. He looks at his brother and he goes, "I am a paladin, one of vengeance and good, and believes in everything. Believes in all the good in everyone." I was like, "Drinks on the dwarf!"
And you hear the 2 or 3 bar patrons who are in there at 3:30 in the afternoon go, "Ah, Juju smash!"
Like Ulthane's just like, I'm going. I look at my brother, go, I have a mission tonight. I'm going to get everybody in this tavern smashed.
About that time, the little dwarf that actually runs the stables kicks in the door and he says, "All right, I'm here for hamsies." And you see the bartender just put his hand, and he's like, "Oh God, I don't know if." And he whistles again, and the little girl comes tottering out, and before she even gets close enough for him to say anything, he sees the guy and without moving just turns around and goes back out the other way. And she comes in a while later and she's got this yoke over her shoulders and she's carrying in these two big buckets and she's being very careful, and you can see she's trying not to spill any of it, and the bartender's like, okay, and he picks both of the buckets up and then puts it down behind. You can't see what's in the bucket, but he was being very careful. But yeah, anyway, the dwarf goes and sits at another table and chats with a couple of the other guys who are in here. But yeah, so back over at your table, Cajun and Craig, and I assume Critter, are over there, and a waitress comes and grabs the tray with the 5 shots, and another waitress has the 2 jugs and kind of sits them down at the table and brings the 5 shots, sits that in the middle, and says, "We'll be right back with the rock slide and the jujus. We'll be right back." So yeah, so now you guys are sitting at that table, and whatever you guys want to do.
I'm setting the milk shots in front of a Critter, and then I'm sitting and just drinking my my alcohol.
Exactly what I'll be doing.
They bring over this drink. It is inside of a gourd, and the liquid itself is sort of this, I don't know, dark and somewhat bubbly fluid of some kind. And Craig raises up a hand, and the bartender throws him a potato, essentially. And he takes the potato and he squeezes it so that it's kind of splooging out between his fingers and everything like that. And he holds his hand and does like this, and parts of the potato fall into the drink. And as it does, it starts to fizz up. And he holds up a hand and he just starts chugging this thing. And he's counting out how long it's taken him to chug this thing. And then he finally finishes and tips it over and then knocks it off the table. And he kind of jumps up and celebrates. And nobody else in the bar is really as excited as he is. And then the waitresses bring over 5 of the juju shots. And what they are glasses. They look like double shot glasses, essentially. And it is it's a blue and orange liquid that never seems to cross. Like they're clearly like oil and water type, where they're staying apart from each other, but it is just swirling around in all 5 of these. And he takes them and he puts them in front of everybody.
I'm still drinking, and I'll look and see if Critter has finished his. And I says, "More milk for my friend."
So yeah, they would keep feeding you guys drinks as you like throughout the remainder. So if you guys want to take the wheel here, by all means, go for it. When you want to fast forward, let me know. Cool.
Yep, me too.
Perfect.
Yep, same.
Great. So towards the end of the night, everybody has been, being merry and joyful. There's a small little stage, you remember, where Zito performed at one point. Craig actually gets over there, and he's got a drink in his hand, and he's up there, and he's like singing some unintelligible song into his drink up on the stage while people are watching and stuff. And then he Horizon, thank you. And he kind of walks and he's high-fiving people who aren't like actually trying to get high fives. He's just walking through and like trying to find people to high five. And he comes and sits down. A Grickland walks into the bar. A Grickland, a bun, and an Ott. No, Grickland walks into the bar, and he kind of scans around the room for a minute, and then he sees your table. He begins to walk over to it, and he actually taps Cajun on the shoulder. Cajun turns around. It kind of dawns on you guys at this point, Cajun hasn't really been drinking, at least not near as much as the two dwarves. Definitely not as much as Craig, and probably not as much as the Tabaxi doesn't think he's been drinking. And he kind of turns and says, excuse me, guys, I'll be back in a little bit. And he walks outside with Grickland. The next morning, everybody came back to the room and everything like that. It was fine. The next day, Cajun, as you guys start to kind of wake up and get around, Cajun is already dressed. He actually has his full travel gear on. And he tells you guys that he was asked by Grickland if there was any way that he might be able to stay, because he saw the way that Cajun, the relationship that he had with the environment and things like that. Is there any way that you might be able to stay? And he kind of points up to the sky, and he tells you guys, it's supposed to start raining. This rain is what's going to feed the crops. I'm going to stay, and I'm going to help these guys get everything done as far as planting and things like that go on this side. I'm going to leave when I'm done here. And he kind of turns, and you can see Craig is actually getting dressed, almost done himself. He says, Craig and I are going to head back to West Rock when we're done. So if you guys just want to meet us there, I'll see you in a couple of days. And he's kind of looking like, is that cool?
Yes, of course. Tell Uther, thank you for getting a hold of us. And that we are happy to help.
He gives you a thumbs up and kind of gets his stuff together. And within the next couple of minutes or so, he and Craig are out the door. Craig does remember to grab the chest that has the doled out milestone in it. And he kind of looks and he says, we can present this. And he kind of puts his hand on top of the chest. We can present this when we get back. I'm sure Uther's going to want to know whatever it was you guys had to deal with. So we'll see you guys then. And they leave. And so it's the three of you guys ahead of breakfast.
So I'll just groggedly get ready and go down for breakfast.
Yeah, as you guys get down there, the bartender, he's wiping down the bar itself, and you guys kind of walk in, and the bartender's not really saying much. He's just standing there doing that. There are a handful of people in here, though. All of them seem to be behind a plate eating, stuff like that. It looks like this serves as in the morning. A lot of people come here to get their food before they start their day out in the fields. And his wife is actually walking around handling most of the floor at the moment. And he sees you guys walk in, and he reaches behind the counter and puts on top of them 3 drinks. And they are this blue, kind of navy blue liquid that's opaque that you can't see through, with a big celery stalk sticking out of it. He says it's a bloody heckba. It should make you feel better.
Blue milk?
Yeah. He goes back to wiping down the counter.
No.
And you feel better.
So I'll drink it. So yeah. Well, when
Great.
y'all are ready, we can get ready started.
Sweet. So yeah, you guys, he wanted to meet you out by the stables. So you guys kind of head that way, and you can see him. He's when you're walking up, you can see him, and he's got this full body black outfit on, and he's kind of brushing a horse that he's standing next to. And there's let's see, I guess he's got 5 horses laid out, and he's kind of brushing them. And you walk up, and he counts himself, and he holds up the 3 paws, or the 3 fingers on his paw, and then his thumb, and he's like, huh. And so he waves the dwarf over. And he comes over and takes one of the other horses back in, and here you sit in front of the 4 horses that should take you to your location. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute bio, and then we will take a little ride. All right, guys. Back in 5.
All right.
All right. So you guys load up onto the 4 horses with a little bit of gingerness, I'm sure, from our dwarven pal.
I'm here.
What kind of horses are these?
So
If I think I can go without, then I'm
So-
going to go without.
these are not Grickland's horses, if that's what you're asking.
But I feel like my walking pace might be able to keep up with them.
Okay. Cool. Well, very good. So then you guys head off in the direction. You guys remember from your last interaction with the Thrycreen that they seem to have some shackles, manacles, something like that, that were attached on the arms on each side of their body, and when they were removed, they turned to vines. Cajun remembered that you passed a section of the forest that had these vines seem to be in the area, and he said that they were about a day away back the direction you guys came, and Catman Dude informs you that you guys are about a day's ride from the location, so you kind of piece it together. Feels like you're probably going that direction. You guys ride uneventfully for the first day. You camp out a decent ways away from where the actual spot would be at Catman Dude's urging, saying that you could turn in early tonight and get a early start tomorrow. And you guys can kind of look around and try and find some sort of clues. So it's now, you traveled the day, you spent the night, it's the next morning, and you guys come to, on the side of the road, there's the forest, which begins to get a little bit thicker as you start to get back into more hilly terrain versus the flatlands that you've been in. The forest at a couple of points seems to be budding closer and closer to the path and the trail and everything like that, never overlapping it, but it does eventually come fairly close. And Catman Dude pulls up, slows his horse, and he says, looks around, and he points over at a mound of dirt. He says, that's where I first began tracking. I think that's probably the best part to reverse engineer this little trip. And he dismounts his horse, and he takes this rod and jams it into the ground. And as it gets into the ground, it starts to shake and starts making this until eventually it stops, and it's just twitching now. And he pulls his horse over to it and kind of loops a rein around it and ties it off. And he extends his hand for everybody else's. And as Gardain and Ulthane, as you guys dismount, he does the same thing, ties it on, and he pulls another rod. This one is maybe only 5 inches across and very slender. He puts it on top. He pulls out a tiny little, to call it a hammer is a joke, but it's just a little tiny one, and he taps the top of it. And essentially what happens is this shroud permeates out of the top of this rod that's now connected to the top of the larger rod, and it essentially looks like it drizzles over the top of your horses, and your horses begin to fade away, disappear. And he turns back towards the forest and he says, "All right, shall we?"
Well, so I will take the lead and start looking for tracks and stuff.
Cool. So what you're looking at here is the side of the forest. Some of the trees are spaced fairly reasonably. It's not difficult to walk around and find it. And he pointed out the mound of dirt that looks like a fairly large clot, so to speak. And in some of the trees, you see these vines sort of hanging. So what are you going to look at? You say you're looking for tracks. Are you looking for them on the forest, over by the mound of dirt?
Oh, yeah, over next to the mound of the dirt.
Cool. Give me a perception check.
Okay. 9.
So just basing it off of the knowledge that you have of the experiences that you had in Horizon with these Ankegs, these things would burst out of the ground and leave a hole behind where they had come out. This looks like all the dirt is just piled up. There's no cavity inside of it. But with a 9, that's all that you get.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I just watched see what my brother doing. I asked him, I says, "What are you doing?"
Looking for tracks. This mound of dirt is suspicious.
He raises his brow and he goes, he just laughs. He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Well, obviously we are not skilled trackers." The little thing looks back at the other party and goes, "Anyone else have the ability to track?"
Meow.
Old thing kind of raises a brow and goes, "Is that is?" And he looks at his brother and goes, "Is that tabaxi for yes?"
Maybe.
Something, yeah.
So give me a perception check, the other two of you, if you don't mind.
I've already did my perception and it's like a 10.
Gotcha. So with a 10, he says that the mound looks suspicious, and you look over to it, and you see crisscross the same looking track, but it's on the far side of the mound, and you can actually see that this dirt seems to sort of trail further into the woods a little bit, but you're not really sure what that means. With a 14, Critter, you actually can see, kind of building on all of this, you see the dirt and it's kind of zigzagged, and you see tracks on top of this dirt. And you can see where some of the plant life and things like that had sort of been rustled to the side and in such a way. But again, it just seems like it leads further into the forest.
It went that way.
Catman dude is like, what did?
Whatever made those tracks went that way.
Catman dude makes a big show of it. He walks side-legged or all the way around the outside of this big mound, and he takes a handful of this dirt and he puts it up to his face, and he just lets it kind of run through his fingers, and he goes he's right.
All right. Well, we do no more alcohol for these two.
Lean over to Gardain and go, he must be very talented.
And he stands up and he kind of faces inward towards the forest. And he's like, well, the horses should be fine here. No one should be able to find them. Let's go get you guys that money. And he kind of turns and takes a couple steps further into the forest and then turns around to see if you guys are coming.
Yep, I'm coming just as noisy as
behind
I can.
Very good.
Absolutely. Is this slowing us down by any chance?
What?
The underbrush or whatever
No.
we got?
No. So it's essentially just a pathway that kind of leads through here. It does look like somebody else may have dealt with difficult terrain, but they cleared enough of a walkway so that you guys aren't going to have to.
Great.
Yeah. So you follow the dirt in it. You can see from time to time, just following it, there's a little bit here, a little bit there. From time to time, there's a big enough break that you think maybe you lost a trail, and then you see a smaller clump to the side, and it takes you back onto this trail. And eventually, it leads you to another big mound of this dirt.
We best look out. When following tracks, maybe it could turn around and come back toward us. Maybe it could be waiting for us in that pile of dirt.
Catman dude quickly rushes up, kind of in front of you, and he puts his hand on your chest as he faces it, and he goes and he quickly pulls out this big kind of luminescent purple bow that it's see-through, and it just seems to be made of gas and light. And he sits there and he pulls back and he says, "Are you afraid?"
And looking at him, I just say, how did you make yours into a bow? My assumption is that he's a soul blade. I am more interested in the fact that he somehow made this into a bow.
He sits there and aims at the pile of dirt, and he hears this question, and he turns his head towards you. And as he does, he just kind of, his hands just open up and they go to his hips, and as they do, it just dissipates into the air. And he says, if you're not afraid, I don't want to, what are we doing here? Should we be quiet? What?
I'll go over and I poke the dirt mound with my axe while they were sitting there talking. Just
And your axe just pushes right through this dirt, and it looks like it's just a big pile of dirt.
more dirt. If y'all want to use y'all's energy weapons to kill the dirt, be my guess.
And again, he pulls out this bow and aims it at the pile, and he says, "Are you afraid?"
And I pull out my hooked blade and I go, shove it into my hand, and you watch the blood, or into my paw, you watch the blood. Both of them pop out. We can do this. I must
Okay.
kill it from the inside.
Okay, on the count of 3, you two attack the dirt. Okay, are you ready?
Is it 1, 2, attack on 3, or 1, 2, 3 and attack?
1, 2, or 3 attack.
Okay.
Right?
Are you ready?
Yes. You do the countdown.
1.
Wait. Can you go 3, 2, 1?
I think that makes more sense. Count down. 3, 2, 1, then attack.
3, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4,
You're going up.
1. Attack!
Boom! He yells out loudly, and it sort of scares birds out of some trees as he shoots this purple arrow into this pile of dirt, and it just goes, and a big dust cloud comes out of it.
And I'm just.
And he turns around and he looks at you, Gardane. He's like, "I think you're going to be safe now."
Clearly. That dirt never knew what had it. So, did y'all see anything while y'all were digging around, or shall we try this again?
So, Ulthane, you not being amused by the cat play, you actually notice from the big cloud of dust or dirt that sprayed out, a secondary trail seems to lead past this thing. The one you've been following doesn't actually lead to this pile. This pile is sort of off to the left of the path you've been following, but another path sort of verges back, and it's a single path still further into the woods.
Well, I said, well, I guess we got to go deeper into the woods.
Very good. So you guys keep following this trail, and again, you come across a handful more of these, more mounds of this dirt. You know, some of them are. The first one you saw was actually the smallest one you came across, and the further into the woods you get, the bigger and bigger and bigger these mounds get, until eventually you come to one of them that is just enormous. Like, it's just gargantuan. And everybody give me a perception check. Thank God for Ulthane. While everybody else is just climbing the pile of dirt like a kid, Ulthane, you notice around the side of it, kind of tucked between a couple of trees, it's not concealed, but instead of looking at the pile of dirt, you're actually following the path that you've been following, and you see it actually leads to a slight opening. Not really a rocky cave-like structure, but almost a work stone opening.
Whole thing kind of like, do y'all see this? It just kind of points it out while they're climbing on the dirt.
Yeah, I saw it. I was just waiting for you to share with us.
Yeah,
We'll be waiting a while.
Catmandu is like climbing up this thing, and he hears you say that, and he turns around and just slides back down. And he looks around for a second, then he sees what you see, and he says, "Ah, very good. It looks like you are a tracker." And he kind of hand and fist and bows to you, and then turns and in like a wide gait, open stance, sideways walking, attempting to be stealthy, he walks over towards the mouth or this door, this entryway. It's not an actual door, I'm sorry.
I will, like I said, I'll just look at my brother. Do we want them to blow it up again?
He kind of says, "Do you think we need to?"
They seem to be enjoying it. I mean, we don't want to take away from their fun.
As long as they look like they're enjoying it, I suppose. Let them go. Let them. I suppose.
Catmandu does some SWAT Navy 6 stuff where he's got his back up against the outside next to this opening, and he kind of looks back at you guys, and he gives you some signs, and he turns his head around real quick and then pops it back out. He takes a deep breath, and then he walks away from the opening casually, and he says, I think it's just a shrine.
Well, okay, here's what we'll do. You and Critter pop your weapons and guard the door, and I'll go in and check.
And he kind of again reaches down where he's been pulling this bow from thin air. Says, Are you afraid?
Shrine? No.
No? Oh, okay, because I think it's just a shrine.
I'll just go and look into the opening to see what's in there.
And so the opening is about 5 feet tall. So you don't have any issue. And you can kind of see it's a slight downward slope into an area that's there seems to be some sort of light source flickering down here, but you do see some kind of statue or something down.
I'll walk in a little closer. Do I notice what god it's to?
So you definitely have to get closer to try and figure that out. You can definitely walk inside. You can scout it. You can do whatever you'd like to. But from here, you can't make that out.
Yeah, I'll go in and look at it.
Sure. So some of the first things that you'll notice as you're walking in is this hallway, this opening that you seem to be walking down is about 10 feet long. And like I said, it's sort of worked stone over the top, and it's like an archway that seems to have been manufactured, built. It's not particularly excellent handiwork, but it'll do. And you make your way down this 10-foot hallway, and you come into a room that is a 10-foot by 10-foot diameter circle. And you notice two things. First one is that statue with the light source that was behind it. It's a torch that's sort of burning up on the wall. And in the middle of the room, there is a 5-foot hole. So you go in to examine the shrine?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So Gardain, you can give me a perception check. Did everybody go down into the room?
Yep.
Cool. Very good. Everybody gets down in there. It's sort of this arched, big, dome type of room. The floor, once you get all the way into it, the walls, the ceiling are all stone. The floor is dirt. On the far side, you see, let's see, it's a carved marble statue. And what you see on it is this sort of uber plated Thri-kreen with two arms here, and then his other two arms lower down, holding onto the hilt of, for the people outside of the game, it looks like Cloud's sword, the Buster sword. Just this massive blade with this long hilt where he's got all four hands holding on to it. The most peculiar thing about this is on its back, it seems, and you don't know if it was, this statue looks like it's been here a while. So you don't know if it was an error, if it's something that's been worn through time, but it almost looks like this statue has carved into it wings. While everybody is sort of taking a look at this statue, again, Ulthane, Gardane's on the back, kind of pointing out the possible wings. You see there's some engraving on the front of it.
Huh. So I'm the one that's seeing the engravings?
Yeah, you're the first one who noticed them for sure.
Okay. Do I know what they say?
So you can read the letters. The word itself is, you don't know what this word means, but the letters are UDUANU. Let me type that in for you.
Udunanu. Udunanu?
As soon as you say that, Kathmandu says, "What? Where?"
Udunanu! And, I pointed the engraving on the thing. I said, that's what that says. Udunanu.
Ah.
Udunanu. Whatever that means.
And for a moment, again, he was reaching down at his side, almost like he was going to pull it out again, but you kind of point at it and say, "Look, it's right there." And he says, "Oh, so Uduanu, I think." And he sits there and he kind of tries to wrap the word around his mouth and vice versa. And he goes through like 12 different pronunciations of it. And finally he's like, Uduanu, Uadudu, Uduanu. He says, however you say it. In Illumina, that means the hornet. Are you familiar?
No.
Just learned the word today.
The Uduanu, Uadu, and he just, the hornet. It's supposed to be some sort of sentry. It is what those bugs It's sort of what they aspire to be. Very like the queen of bees or ants or bugs. Uduan, the hornet. That is their. He kind of rolls his eyes. Final form. They've long been extinct. No, none such have existed in years. This is probably the resting place of, or perhaps just a marker of the last time that one was seen in this area. They're scattered all over the place. As he says that, his foot kind of catches on some loose gravel that's right outside of this hole in the middle of the dirt.
Like sends it down the hole?
No, he just he just kind of trips over it, like he catches on it.
Well, it must be of something significance to them. They built a shrine to it.
And he looks a little confused at you, and then what the warriors of the past, what they would do is they would build these as sort of markers, like medals or symbols of victory. Only when you would overcome or defeat, you would place one of these. As I say, they're all over. The bugs cannot lift the marble alone. They are too weak.
I'm gonna go look over at the hole.
Okay.
Can I see down in it? Or its bottom?
Do you have any sort
60
of
foot back in.
60 foot? Yes,
Yep.
you can and it's just right at the edge, but you can make out something. It looks like dirt as well.
Okay.
Down this shaft, there's I don't know, every 3 or 4 feet there's a stone on different walls, kind of making spiraled up that sort of jut out just a little bit.
Like as grips or as stairs?
More as grips.
Okay. I will point this out to the group. If that Uluwatu statue is here, our goal is to keep going. This proves it will be dangerous.
Well, y'all want to climb down?
Whole thing looks over and goes, sure. How are we going to do it?
Easily.
It's a 5 foot wide hole, so only one of you would be able to comfortably fit down this thing at a time.
But we can use the hole to brace, and there are handholds. This should not be difficult. Just don't screw up. And I'll go first.
Okay. How far down are you attempting to move?
That depends. If you will clarify something for me real quick.
Sure.
I have a climb speed of 20.
Okay.
But I also have the mobile feet, and it just says your speed increases by 10 feet. Does that affect the climb speed, or just movement, or just walking speed?
So do you currently feel like you are threatened?
That there's a chance I could fall. Yeah, I don't feel like something's going to attack me, but there is a chance of danger.
So then in that situation, I probably wouldn't take your climbing speed into account, because you could take as much time as you want.
Okay, well, I'll take it easy then and make my climb checks or my
Sure.
athletics checks.
Go for it. You can do it at advantage if you're using the handholds.
22.
Yeah. So that's why I was asking how far down. Are you going to a certain depth and then trying to get a better look?
Obviously, well, at some point, whenever I can see how the room opens up, because I probably can't tell if this is like a stovepipe on the ceiling or if it is on the side of a wall. But once I'm able to get to a position where I can see into whatever area, that's about the place I'll stop.
So for you to be able to see into the area, you will have to get all the way down.
Okay.
Okay. So as you drop all the way down, you kind of look it is, imagine like a tunnel, kind of like a pipe bending, because it's still just sort of a 5-foot circular opening, which, if I recall correctly, you're over 5 feet tall, so it might be,
yeah, I am.
You're kind of having to crouch and stuff like that. But you can sit there and you can see once you get to the base, the bottom here, the path continues to go downward.
Okay.
But yeah, even with your dark vision, you do not see any immediate threats.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna pop my blades back out because it creates a light. Even if it's tiny, it's easier to see the light than it would be for me to use it as actually anything to help me.
Sure.
I'll give a
Catman dude turns and he says, "All right, who's next?"
I'll go next.
All right. And again, same thing. Athletics check with advantage.
Okay. 17.
Yeah. So yeah, you make it down comfortably to the bottom, and the last little hold, you don't hang from it and drop, but you can't just easily step down. You kind of hop down and you're standing there. Same thing. You can see Critter kind of standing in front of you on a path that is starting to kind of lead downward. No more stone at this point.
All right, I'm down.
Catman dude looks at you, Ulthane, and he says, and he kind of gestures towards the hole.
Can I use something that I had just realized that I have and I've never used yet?
Sure.
Mind? Cool. I'm gonna use delusion, and I'm sending it up to Catman dude, since I'm out first and he responded, and I'll send it up to Catman dude. There's an actual, right in front of him, a wooden sign of a finger pointing down shows up that only he can see, and then disappears.
And Catman do, as he's gesturing Ulthane over to it, he kind of sees a sign, and he's like, yeah, I think he says that it's clear.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I go down.
All right, athletics at advantage.
15.
All right, still good to go. You make it down, kind of plopping down that last little bit, same way. And behind you, Catman Dude makes it down. So now you guys are kind of standing in this hallway, and as you're making more and more room for the next person to descend down this hole, you get a little bit further and further down this hall, and you can start to see light, but it's not flickering the same way that the torch did. It's moving, and it's letting off this amber glow. And it seems to be multiple light sources, but they're all moving, and there's no pattern to it at all. So what do you do?
I don't think I'll try to push myself to hide, I guess. I don't know if the lights come. Is it coming towards us or just away from us?
So the looks of it, it looks like it's whatever. It just seems to be whatever is down at the end of this tunnel. The light just seems to be moving around in it. Since you're kind of looking, you actually brace yourself up against the dirt wall. And that you finally, now that you're touching it, you get a good feel for it. This dirt is heavily packed. Like it's not stone, but it is the dirt equivalent. Like it is braced. If you had any fear of this cave collapsing on you, now that you've touched the wall, you are comfortable. But that same realization happens, and everybody, it does seem like towards the end of the hall, one of the lights seems to be moving your direction.
Okay. I changed my focus so that I have advantage on stealth checks, and I'm going to spend 2 points to go into my kitty form. I am now tiny.
Okay.
And I would like, if I may, to hide somewhere behind somebody, on somebody's back, something.
Sure.
Am I changing my focus? I now have advantage on stealth checks, and by being tiny, I have a +5 to stealth. 22.
Okay. You feel comfortably hidden on Catman Dude.
Purring gently.
And he sits there, and you see him, and he reaches and he pulls his bow, and he kind of squares it towards the end of the hallway. And as soon as he's got it trained there, everybody's kind of waiting for whatever it is. And then you see it. It rounds the corner. It's this 6-inch beetle that is glowing. And it crawls, and it crawls up the wall, goes all the way up and around the wall, and it crawls over towards you guys, and it walks right through your legs. And it gets over to where the little drop down hole that you climbed down was. He walks over to it, and it immediately turns around and then climbs up, and now is sitting over it's this tiny little fire beetle essentially that just is now illuminating the hallway.
I look at it. Look at everybody else. So does one of the more stealthier people want to go? I don't, or do you want to, or shall we go make some noise?
Old Thane looks at his brother and goes, "The cat's riding with one of us. I don't know which one."
I'll sneak ahead to see what I can find out. What's so funny?
Never.
You didn't have work on it,
Go ahead.
I need a minute. That was funny.
I move up onto Catman Dude's shoulder, and I'm sitting there curled up, and I look over at him with my kitty head and just shake it like he's supposed to understand.
Yeah, and Catman Dude, you realize at this point he's not looking at you. He's kind of got his mouth covered, and he turns and looks at you, and then turns away, and you just hear him kind of snort.
Fine. I'll go ahead.
And I jump off, landing on my feet, and definitely pat my way down this caveway that I'm now not too big for.
Yeah, so you kind of you get to the point where you're walking normally, and then you get lower and lower and creep slower and slower, and then this opening or this hallway, caveway that you're on opens up into this massive hollowed out cavernous area where there are multiple pathways that cross from one side of the cavern to the other side. On the other side, you can see there are a couple of places where there are some landings. You see other spots to your left. The dirtway actually kind of trails downward and kind of starts to spin. And from your vantage point, you can actually see down, and there's not just one level to this. There are multiple levels. Things of note. There's the path on the left that kind of spirals down. There is a path on the right side that is a wider path. It looks like maybe 10, 15 feet across, where you see one of these Thri-kreen kind of standing there. If a Thri-kreen could look bored, it looks bored. There's a pathway that leads straight across, and then off of that pathway, it juts in two separate directions. It kind of V's. On the left, there's a flat landing that doesn't seem to connect to anything else, where another Thri-kreen is standing there, again, kind of bored, just sort of looking off of the ledge, sort of further down. And on the far side, you can see another flat. And on that flat, there's something, a pile of something on the other side, maybe, but you can't really make out what it is. But the entire, it's probably a good 60 feet across, but the entire cavern, again, is just this packed dirt and mud and things like that. But it is, there are these little fire beetles everywhere. And so your dark vision, you're seeing in color. You're seeing fine.
Okay. I'm going to end this this Thrycreen's mine. He begins to hear the sounds of well, I'm trying to mimic Gardain's metal boots from the spiral stairway. There is no save. It just lasts for a minute.
So you see his head kind of turn towards the staircase because the landing that he's on is actually on the same side of this opening of this level of the cave as that staircase. So he's kind of looking down, and he actually walks all the way over to the edge, and he's just kind of looking over it. And he turns and he looks at the other one, and he clatters. You know, he kind of clicks at him, and he turns back, and he's just looking down.
As he's looking down, the sound changes to standing on the ledge behind him. He gets louder, walks right up to him, and then stops.
Yeah, he turns around, and as he does, he pulls out the Githkas, one in each hand, and he turns around kind of in a defensive posture. And then he looks for a moment, and he puts the Githkas away. And now he's just kind of looking in the cavern.
And as he's looking into the cavern, it sounds like the bootsteps are shuffling behind him slowly, but still audibly. And then it stops. And then it sounds like it's coming from right in front of him, walking towards him, speeding up into running, faster and faster, louder and louder, until it sounds like it's going to hit him, and then the sound is just gone.
And he sees this, as he kind of went to that defensive pose, he now had his back kind of towards the ledge. And he turns, and he's kind of waiting for something, and then whatever it is sounds like it's running at him, and he sits there and he's just trying to figure it out. And then right before you cut the sound off, he pulls the Githkas out and kind of holds them up in front of him, and he takes a step back and slips, and he falls off the landing. And you hear
gentle purring. I go back down the hallway to my buddies. That's good. I took care of one. My job's done. I go back to my buddies and real quietly explain the room to them. And then at the very end, I go,
Gardain, one of them just died because of you. Sorta.
Okay.
But there's one left. Do you think you can handle him?
I'm sure. We'll work something out.
And I'm going to, last thing I do is go,
I don't think you can get there as easily as me. So I'm going to go out there and bombard his mind with sounds that are very loud, hopefully covering up your sound. I'll do my best.
All right.
and I turn around and Kitty Cat walk down the hall.
So, what are you setting up for the rest of the party here?
What I'm trying to do is in this guy's mind. When it comes to sound, I can create a sound. Its volume can range from a whisper to a scream. It can be your voice, someone else's voice, a creature's roar, a musical instrument, or any other sound you pick. It lasts for a minute. I plant a false belief in the mind of one creature that you can see within 60 feet, and I can create a sound or an image. Only the target of this talent perceives the sound or the image I create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the sound of like the sound of rumbling of no. I'm going to start creating over and over and over again the sound of his buddy going splat against the floor. So it sounds like when rain starts, except it's the sound of Thrycreen hitting the ground over and over and over again until it's a deafening roar to him.
And when all the sound?
You won't hear any of it. Only so you can come along whenever you like.
Right. So I'm gonna move as stealthily as plate armor will allow me until I actually get a chance to see him, and then I'm going to charge at him.
Okay. Yeah. As you round this corner, and Ulthane, you can move forward if you like as well. Catman dude is kind of walking sideways, cross-legged, being very careful. Gardane is not. But you kind of, as Gardane is making out, and there's a little path that juts off to the right to this little landing, like I said, where this Thrycreen is. And he's just kind of sitting here, almost two of his hands are kind of working its way up towards his head, and his head's sort of dealing with it. The other two hands are down on his knees, and he's just kind of sitting there. So Ulthane, you would see Gardane charging up to this Thrycreen that doesn't seem to be aware.
I follow him behind my brother.
Very good. Gardane, what would you like to do here?
If he doesn't, then I'm going to use my shield as a chair to try to knock him out.
Okay. Make an attack roll for me, please. I guess technically he's surprised here too, so you would get advantage.
Oh, okay. 16.
Okay, that'll hit.
So I'm going to crack him over the head with my shield.
Okay. I will give you the option. You can either do damage, or you can choose to bypass the damage and get the effect that you're looking for. You can essentially...
Yes.
Cool. So yeah. So now everybody is kind of standing in this room, and you see this great expanse, and it seems to extend far, far below you, even with these beetles lighting up the space and moving around. Below you, you can only sort of vaguely make out some of the finer details and things like that. But from where you are, Gardane, you can see that pile on the far side of the room is a body of something humanoid, and it's not a bug.
I'll go over to where the body is and examine. You said it wasn't a bug, so what is it?
So as you get to the other side, this is on a again about a 10-foot deep landing on the far side, and as you're making your way over towards this body, you actually notice there are 3 holes on this side, and this body is very close to the hole to the farthest on the left. But it's a man, and the man is wearing just a brown undershirt with a tight black leather vest.
I'll wave Catman dude over there. Is this one of yours?
And he kind of gets over there, and you can see him. He's kind of looking off the side of this thing as he's walking sideways. And he gets over. He's not even all the way over there, but he sees the body, and you can see him visibly like slump, and he just gives you a nod.
Do you know about how many of the men were taken?
And wordlessly, he holds up 2 fuzzy fingers.
Well, then let's hope we'll have better options with the other one.
And again, he gives you a nod. He walks back over to that entryway. Actually, he walks back over to where Ulthane had made it to, probably on that landing on the right side. And he kind of ushers everybody back over to him. And he says, "We should be careful. It seems as though there are more." And he kind of nods over the ledge. And he points out some features of the room that Critter didn't notice at first. And one of them is the landing that you guys are all on the right side. It actually ends, but off the side there's about a 50-foot drop. Again, with these little stones strategically placed to another landing, essentially a story down in this cave. And then he leans off the other direction to the left, more towards the middle of the room, and he points down, and you can actually see there is a pile of stuff that is glimmering and shimmering off of these fire beetles' light on a landing that's just below where a thri-kreen is kind of in the outline pose on the ground. So essentially, you have been set up with at least 2 ways to get down, if you would like, other than falling. You could take that staircase that sort of leads off to the left. And it's not really a staircase, it's just sort of a spiraling downward slope. Or you can climb down this side. And you all actually notice, since you're all standing here facing different directions, there's another right behind you. Sort of the entranceway comes in this way. You guys went off to the side. Back this way, it drops straight down as well. So there's at least those 3. And of course, there are 3 holes on the far side.
How far away did you say the gold was? Or that whatever the shimmering stuff was?
50 feet down.
I gotta be within 30. Okay. Well, I'm more curious about that shiny stuff, so I'm probably gonna take the most direct route I can, other than falling.
So the path around the left side, do you think that that's probably the fastest way down to that stuff?
Cool. And I'll stop once I get within about 25 feet of it.
Okay, as you're on that slope going around the left side, my guess is you probably stop a little bit sooner than that, because you can now see across this next floor down, the second level. You can see three tubes on the far side, each one with the thri-kreen standing right in front of it. Each of them
made of what?
Dirt.
Oh.
And each one of them are facing the dirt tubes.
I will stealthily go back up then.
Okay.
You want me to roll for
it? They are not paying attention.
Okay. I'll go back up, tell them that there's three of them down the spiral, and that they are currently not paying attention to us. So I think Gardain's previous plan would be very effective against these three, especially if Ulthane could also coordinate.
Well, do you think you and the Kathmandu could climb down? Are they connected, or would they be different?
Am I able to assess that?
Yeah. The little way that you were going, that landing was connected to nothing other than the floor above it. So there is just cavity between that landing and where these three thri-kreens are. On the far right side of the room, the opposite end, where that little rock ladder is, connects to where they're at. And you can actually see Kathmandu is already, all you can still see is maybe his shoulders and his head. He's going down that other path. And he says, I think it's best if we all be very careful. I've got to find the spice. That's why I'm here. And he disappears down into the hole.
Well, I'll go down the little that walkway that Critter came up from.
Okay.
Follow me, brother.
Critter.
I'm going to follow the brothers.
Okay. So you guys get down towards where that slope starts to level out and is just sort of on this large circular platform. And again, in the middle of this platform, other than the thri-kreen body, there is this pile of shiny, shimmery stuff that is sort of just mixed in a pile of dirt.
Where was the other thri-kreen that he Critter told us about?
The other three are on the far end, opposite end of where you guys would have entered, and a floor down.
Oh, okay. So I'll walk towards that dirt mound with the shiny stuff.
Okay. Are you going to attempt to be stealthy?
Yes.
Okay.
I will roll with disadvantage. And I will get a 1.
Yeah, so your very first step shifts the dirt itself, and it falls away underneath your foot. It was close enough to the edge that it just kind of drops off the side,
and as soon as you kind of clatter back to get your balance, you make enough noise that all three of these Thri-kreen turn around. Roll initiative.
I would like to roll to disown my brother.
You don't even have to roll for that.
I know. Not getting high today. The highest I wrote. I know, Jim. I know that was a terrible thing to say.
All right. So Gardane, these things sit across about a 20-foot chasm. And to get to the edge of this mound, it's about 20 feet as well. So the nearest, they're all, let's say, 45 feet away from you.
Well, since all of us is bunched up now, I'm gonna cast bless on us.
Okay. Excellent.
That's it.
Very good. Yeah, and this is a big open air. It's not a system of tunnels and things like that. This is a big open air cavern type thing. So you guys aren't blocking each other's paths on this stairway or anything like that. Let me get the cards in order. All right. So everybody has bless. Ulthane.
Well, so how far away from us are they? Like a good distance away?
Yeah, so you could walk 20 feet to the edge of this clearing, and then there's a 20-foot gap, and then they're all three standing on the other side by these tunnels and tubes.
Could I reach them with a crossbow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, take out a crossbow and take a shot at him. D4 add to the goddamn 14. That's even with bless.
That hits.
Wow. Yeah, I tickle him. 1 damage.
The old tickle.
That was a bad shot.
All right. So we got 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, I was not prepared. All right. All right. So are you aiming at the one on the door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
I want to embarrass it and say none of them because, just like a combined 1 damage amongst 3 people. Like it's like it hits and just ricochets off of them or whatever. Door 1, why not?
All righty. Very good.
I tickle him. He's like, oh, get away from me.
Is there anything else that you would like to do?
Commit suicide and jump on the side of the thing from that terrible roll. No, not like anything else. No.
Critter.
All right, I'm gonna use my bonus to pop my blades, and you said they're 20 feet away.
So the platform where you guys are at the base of this slope, 20 feet to the edge, and then there's a 20-foot gap, and then they're over there.
Oh,
So they're technically 45 feet away.
okay. Okay. Well then, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm gonna draw out the Githka. I'm gonna run up 20 feet, and I'm going to chuck it at it. Or the Chachka, excuse me.
Ah!
Here comes the pain. It's a D6. All right.
Which one are you aiming for? 1, 2, or 3?
1.
Okay.
That's a natural 1.
All right. So you literally this thing, and you slip your grip, and I'll let you choose. You can take disadvantage on your next attack, or drop the Githka off this side.
Drop it off the side.
Okay.
There's enough bucks around here to pick another one up sometime.
There are a lot of bugs around here. So
And
anything
I
else?
will. Yeah, I'll use the rest of my 40 feet to back the hell up.
So tell me how you back the hell up. Do you just backpedal?
I imagine that when I go to throw it, I'm like, I'm like a cricket pitch, and I go to throw it, and it just boom, and it goes over, and I fall on hands and knees, and I start pushing myself back, scooting back. I might turn around and then scoot back away from them just to create more space.
Gotcha. Very good. So door number 1. The Thrycreen stands there, and you guys see these wings, these dragonfly wings, split off on the sides, and they start buzzing real fast, and he lifts off the ground, and he pulls his spear out, and now he's just hovering in place with a spear in hand. Door number 2 sits there and pulls 4 of these Chachkas, and he's actually going to throw one of them at you, Critter. And so as you're kind of backing up, right as you stand up, go ahead.
I move back another 20 feet, so I'm still 45 feet away.
Okay.
So that's outside of the Chachka's base range.
Right. So that's disadvantage.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So he throws this thing, and as you are kind of scooting back and stand up, this thing skits across the dirt and lands at your feet. Had you not been backing up, this thing would have probably caught you in the jaw. And the one on the door number 3 to the far left side, he pulls out these 2 daggers, and you can see him start to make his way around your right side, basically on that little path that leads to that ladder. He's making his way around that way. And once he gets to the edge, you can see him, and he's warming up the band. He's looks like he's about to jump. Gardane.
All right, the one that looks like he's warming up the band, I'm going to cast Sacred Flame at him. He got a dexterity save.
He got a 12. I bet that's not good enough.
No.
Okay.
It was. Okay, what is it? Takes a D8. I think it's more than that, but I'm looking up in a little bit. Yeah. He takes 2 radiant damage, and I've lit him up.
Awesome. So you throw this sacred flame at him. I know we've seen this in the past, but give me an idea of what somebody who hasn't seen this before might look like.
um, you see he holds his axe up, and it's kind of like he just waves it like a fan. He's got a hold of the back of the axe, and he's waving it like he's trying to start a fire. And then it's like when he gets a little fast, then this little flame puffs out and then shoots out and hits the Thri-kreen wherever. But then he starts to light up.
Nice. So yeah, this as he's sitting there, he's kind of getting down in this squatted stance, and this hits him right in the thorax because that seems to be the largest target. And it hits, and as it does, it starts to permeate this light, and he stops for a minute and is kind of watching himself kind of get lit up. You said 2 damage? It's 2 radiant, correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to do? Ulthane.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Nope. Yep, I'm done.
Rip. Ulthane.
Is one coming melee range, or are they still all in crossbow range?
So all of them are currently in crossbow range.
If I moved up, I can't move up to them and smack them with a hammer, huh?
Not yet.
Well, shoot them with a crossbow.
All right. 1, 2, or 3.
1. I'm going to teach one a lesson. God damn it. 14. Jesus Christ. Last time I rolled a 10, then I got +4 on the die on the die, the D4. This time I rolled a 13 and got a freaking 1 on the die. So yeah, 14's been good to me tonight.
Well, that does hit.
Can I upgrade my crossbow to maybe a crossbow that only rolls 2 damage? Because I hit him for 1.
Are you sure you're not firing off a sling at this guy?
I think really and honestly, I'm just pinging him with a rock because in old D&D, that's how much damage a damn rock did. It was like 1 freaking point of damage.
All right, so yeah, you. This is the one that is kind of lifted off the ground with those wings going. So I think maybe that's part of the reason why Ulthane. Also, we know that Ulthane has been handy with any of the melee weaponry that he has shown so far, and this is maybe a little bit different, and so he's getting his bearings. And the first one was a rough shot. The second one was a little bit better, but this thing had kind of moved out of where it was. So it's like that old tanks game where you got to figure out the trajectory.
Other than wanting this thing to come in melee range, I'm done.
I want it to come into melee range as a bonus. Critter.
All right. Pop my blades, and I'm gonna see if I can make this bad. The one that looks like he's striking up the band. I'm gonna use my action to use delusion to make it seem like I start moving my hands, and then in delusion, I have in a 5x5 space a small cannon, and it's aimed at him. And that's what he sees. And I start taking the tip of my blade and moving it toward the cannon.
This Thri-kreen. Now, as a side note, you guys are probably aware of this. The monster manual says that they do not show emotion. This guy is going through the gamut of bug emotion right now.
You just got lit up like the 4th of July, and now you're about to shoot a cannon at him that you pulled out of hammer space. Anything else you want to do?
Other than me, like,
Okay. All right. So,
to be fair, I can't move it. The image is frozen in that position in his mind.
okay, I will keep that in my mind.
Well, that means if he moves, I can't move it. It's in that position.
Gotcha. Door number 1. Ulthane, you wanted so hard that this guy begins to fly over that cavernous space, and he's actually picking up speed. And as he gets over towards you, he crosses completely, gets up next to you, and attempts to drive this spear at you. I don't think a 16 hits you. Nope. So he goes, and maybe he's a little wobbly. Flight proficiency used to be a thing, right? Maybe he's not very good at flying. Actually, yeah, let's say that. Let's say that the wings, now that he's a little bit closer to you, you can see that there's like some sort of residual like fibers or goo that is kind of keeping them from being able to fully give him the range of movement that maybe he was expecting. Door number 2 is going to throw another Chachka. This one is at, once again, now this cat that has turns his attention in another direction and is sitting there. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's just like, what is that? Guy's an easy target. All right, I might have hit somebody. Wait, you're still out of range. Nope. Yep. As you kind of turn and act like you're about to do this, the turning of your body creates a smaller target, and this Githa flies, and this one he kind of lobbed at you, and it just lands right at your feet and skitters across. And it actually rolls over and lands in this pile of dirt and shinies. And the one that's on the other side that's lit up sits there, and his head kind of cocks to the side a little bit. And he braces himself, all 4 arms, on different levels of these stones that are sticking out. And he sits there and he looks, and again, his head kind of cocks, and he just drops back down. And he takes, he picks one of the daggers off of the ground and just attempts to hurl it at you.
At the cannon?
He's going to try and throw it over the cannon at you.
Okay.
Do you get mental cover? It's a joke.
Actually, any interaction that he has with the physical, like if anything that he would do to touch it, it's gone from his mind.
Well, he's just going to throw it.
Okay.
And it did hit you for 3 damage. Dun, dun, dun. That might be the most damage caused by anything other than Doppelkrieg all season. 3 damage. It's the little victories, guys, for me. But you can see him once again. After he throws that, he kind of starts to walk back towards his original stance. And once he realizes that the cannon is no longer moved at him, you can see him getting back down in another squat. It is at this time that you all, to a space forward and left, hear more buzzing. And you see
another Thri-kreen with wings come up from the level below. Just this one is just hovering over blank space. Gardane.
All right. The one that I lit up, how far away from me is he?
He is. What is that? Maybe 35, 40 feet? 40 feet, let's say.
Okay. All right. I will cast Spiritual Weapon. Yeah, I'll cast Spiritual Weapon behind him. And let's see. And I'll see if I can't hit him. Or can I? I get okay. 12.
Which one are you aiming at? The one you lit up?
Yeah.
Did you use your bless on that?
No.
Don't forget your bless.
13.
13 does hit.
Oh, good. Okay. He will take 4 points of force damage.
Nice. Anything else you would like to do?
Nope, that's it. I'm staying where I can keep a close eye on everybody and move. I can't move too much.
Very good. Ulthane, you got one buzzing in the sky right above you.
Is he within striking distance of my hammer? Well, my axe, I should say.
You bet your ass.
I bet my ass he's in range of that axe. I want to swing at him with an axe.
Okay. Are you dropping the crossbow?
Yeah, I'm going to drop the crossbow, yeah.
Excellent.
No. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to smack him with the freaking my axe. Well, it's a little bit higher. 15.
15 will hit.
I hate my dice. Anyway, I've had a mental meltdown about my dice. Anyway, let's see. D8, go. 6 damage, not bad.
Nice.
Not going to smite him yet.
All right. Anything else you would like to do?
Nope.
Critter. The scene is there is one that you aimed this illusory cannon at, one that is still in its original starting position at door number 2, and then door number 1 buzzed across, and then I would say that it is at your 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30. Another one has just risen up from the tier below.
Okay. And heck, if Ulthane can reach one with his axe, I can reach one.
It would be the same one that he could reach.
Right.
Yes.
Cool. I am going to first spend 2 psi points as an incidental for a +1 attack and damage. That heals me for 2 hit points. And I'm going to run up to this thing, and I'm going to start swinging away. And I still have a bonus, so I'm going to attack with both of them. Here we go.
Don't forget your bless, and I should have mentioned this earlier. Obviously, everybody starts with 1 inspiration, should you need it.
Yep, I've got my bless die and everything going on. All right. So The first one is a 15 and the second one is a 14.
Both of those will hit.
All right. Come on, still on the table. Still a 2. All right. It is. The first one is going to be 5 psychic damage. And the second one is 6 psychic damage. And I'm going to use any movement to continue that I have left. Right now I'm at 40 movement. I'm going to move the rest of that back away.
Okay. The entire 40, or are you just using enough to back away?
Well, I figure I used some of it to get there.
Yep.
So, like what? Was it 15, 20 feet away?
Probably, yeah, probably 15 feet away.
Cool. Then I'll move 20 feet away from it.
Okay. Still on the landing?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a dex save.
All right. Do I have anything extra on this? No.
Get a D4 from Bless, right?
Yeah. That is a 14.
All right. So, yeah, as you're kind of dashing away as you do sometimes, also as sometimes you have shown, you're a little distracted and you almost trip over this pile of stuff. But you wind up catching your footing, and now you're standing next to it.
Can I get a quick assessment of what it might be with a passive 13?
It looks the same. It's still shining, glimmering. The dirt seems to be constricting your ability to make out details.
Okay.
All right. Then door number 1 just got somebody took a pot shot at him, but he's angry about these tiny little rock arrows that kept pinking off of him. He's going to attempt to stab at let's see. So that is an unnatural 20, so that is a hit. And Ulthane, you will take 4 damage, a new high, personal record.
Yay.
Door number 2 will leap across this cavern and land right at the other edge of it very easily. And as he kind of lands, the dirt shifts underneath him, and he'll go over and grab one of the tchotchkes off of the ground and attempt to throw it at Gardain. And he throws it right off the side. The big whiffa. Door number 3 leaps across and lands, and he will unload both of his githkas, or excuse me, his tchotchkes. The first one he's going to throw at Ulthane. The second one he's going to backhand sidearm. He did. Did he? He may have. And he threw one of them. So he's going to throw one dagger, and he's going to throw it at Ulthane. Correct. And he throws it high or low, Ulthane.
I go for high.
All right. That's a good call. So he throws, oh my God, a new personal record. He throws it, and he completely whiffs on you, Ulthane. But he nails door number 1 with 5 damage.
We're hiring this guy.
Yeah, he's the best player on your team. Door number 4, or the wild card, or the grab bag, who just floated up from the floor below, is going to fly kind of to the side, still over the vacancy now in that space between the flat and the landing you guys are on. And he's going to hurl 2 of these Chachkas, one at Ulthane, one at Gardane. Let's see. Does a 19 hit you, Gardane? Aha! Gardane takes 2 damage.
Okay.
Is that okay?
This time it is.
And the other one misses Ulthane. He does not strike his buddy, though. You hear a voice from somewhere below say, "Guys, I got it!" And it's the unmistakable voice of Snowball. Gardane.
Alrighty. Oh, come on. Well, my character sheet. There we go. I can use it. Okay. So I'm gonna. Has the one that I've been beating on and I lit up? Has he moved, or is he just still sitting there throwing the?
He has jumped across the chasm and he is on your little landing.
Okay. Is he within moving distance for me, or is he still out of my? Okay. So as my bonus action, I'm going to my hammer, my axe. I have to move my hand, and it comes with me. Then I raise my hand, my axe up over my head, and chop down with my spiritual weapon.
Nice.
Let me get my 16 to hit.
It hits.
And 8 force damage.
Oof.
Then I'm going to move over there and use my real axe on him. Let's see. Nope. 10's not going to hit him.
A 10 does not hit. You are correct.
That's
right.
it.
Ulthane, you got one of these guys buzzing your tower. A comedy, yeehaw.
Maybe he's muted.
Ulthane.
Oh my god! So I rolled a because I was like, I broke my record. I rolled a 17 and I done 9 points of damage. If that hits.
Nice, yeah, 17. It's the same one you've been attacking, door number 1.
Yep.
All right. So I'm pretty sure everybody at some point hit this guy, including his own team. How did he die?
Well, he just got hit previously by his member, so he's by his team, by one of his so-called buddies. So he's like kind of confused. Well, and when he's turned around, like he's almost like he's about ready to throw one of those Githka little shuriken thingies at his butt, retaliating for betraying him. He gets an axe right between where his wings are.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes his wings cramp up and he falls down to the ground dead.
Nice.
And with that, I'll move closer to my. Is my brother is Critter or my brother in melee with any of them?
Gardane is in melee with one of the ones that just jumped across.
All right. Well, I am going to move across to where my brother's at. If I can reach him this turn, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's on the same landing as you. You can absolutely get over and essentially flank the one that he's been dealing with.
All right. Cool. That's what I'll do.
Critter.
So how many are left, and how close are they?
There are 3 left. 2 of them are on the landing. If you moved over 15 feet and back, one of them, they're all within your movement.
I've got 40 feet right now. And I can have 80 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they're all within your movement. One of them, however, is still flying over the crevasse.
How high up over the crevasse?
Eye level with you.
Ooh. He's gonna have to wait. All right. I'm going to excuse me. I'm going to run toward the closest one, and I'm going to go crazy.
All right.
Well, unless it's the one over the crevasse, because I can't hit him yet.
Right. So door number 2 is the closest one. He is also unattended currently.
About
The other one is surrounded.
How far away is that one?
That one, so the closer one is 30 feet. The other one is you would have to move 40 feet.
I'm going to go with the 30 feet because those brothers will handle it, and I'll be able to stay alive for a little bit of time. All right, here we go. All right, first attack is a natural 1. I'm going to go ahead and spend my inspiration on that.
Okay.
And there's 2 ones there, so that's an 11 on the dice. So it's a 17, 18, 19.
Okay. That does hit.
6 psychic damage. And 10, 11, 12, 13 for the second attack.
To hit?
Yep.
That does not hit.
Ooh. All right. Well, I'm going to start backing away toward my buddies. 10 feet the other direction. In fact, I will. I've already used my bonus action to spend it. So I'm going to use feline agility. I only have 10 feet left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use it to double what I have remaining and scoot back 20.
Okay. All right. The Thrycreen. Oh, that is door number 3 is surrounded by the bros. He is going to make an attack, a wide sweeping attack. He pulls out a dagger at Gardane.
I would like to use my reaction to impose disadvantage on him. Because remember, I switched from using damage to back to my shield. So
that's right.
Inside the shield thing would be better. He has disadvantage.
All right. Yeah, he whiffs. Yeah, he misses. Not even close. Not even close. Door number 2 is going to, seeing the cat run away from him, he's going to attempt to aid the one who is in trouble and come up and try and take a shot at Ulthane. That's not close. Ugh. And so, yeah, the other one that is buzzing in the air floats forward and actually lands closer to the upward slope and tries to unload 2 more of those tchotchkes, both of them heading Critter's way. Ugh. Yeah. So one of them he throws, and Critter, with your feline agility, you nimbly dodge. The other one catches you. God damn it. And you take 3 points of damage. And then you hear from down, echoing up through the cave, boom, boom. And you just see these purple lights light up below you. Gardain.
All right, so how bad off does everybody look?
Anybody bleed or bloody?
Not even close.
Yeah,
Oh.
not even close, bro. We're good.
All right, then I'm going to raise my hand up and make my axe raise up again. Wait a minute. Did that fella, one of them hit me, right?
Yes, the one
I
is.
All right, I took 2 points of that. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm good with keeping bless up. I forgot about that. That bless was concentration. And 13 does not hit with my spiritual weapon, I don't guess.
Are you still attacking the same one you've been attacking?
Yes.
Yes, a 13 does hit.
Okay. 6 force damage.
So tell me how you kill it.
So I raised he raises the axe up and he brings it down and it hits into the Thrycren's shoulder, and then you see hits it's carapace?
Yep.
Bug armor, whatever. Splits open and it starts to the axe keeps going through until it cuts him clean and drops him in 2 pieces.
Nice. So one of the pieces actually falls off of the edge. Anything else? That was your bonus action, right? So you still have an action.
Where is the one that just popped up?
He just landed over by the upwards spiraling dirt pathway. So he's within movement for you.
Okay, so I'm going to move over to where he's at and use the real thing. I got a 14.
That'll hit.
3 slashing damage.
Nice.
Believe it's slashing damage. Is it? Yes, slashing damage.
And you actually notice on this guy, as the axe goes through, you mentioned the bug armor. He seems to be covered in this like residue and goo and sinewy fibers and things like that seem to be strung off of him. Just little short ones, things like that. Ulthane. Door number 2 and the grab bag have both landed on the flat and are within your movement.
You're muted.
Oh no, was he?
Oh my god, I was muted. So, is my brother near these? Like, is he engaged in melee with them, or is he still back here with me?
He is engaged with melee with one of them.
All right, well, I'm going to move up to that one, and I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a pot shot at him. 14, not bad. 14. All right, 14 and 7 points of damage.
Nice. And what you're hitting him with a hammer? Is that right?
No, I'm hitting him with an axe.
Okay. Yeah, kind of the same thing. The other ones seemed to take a little bit more work to get through, but there's something about this one, and
Oh, okay.
so
Cool. Looking at it to see my axe didn't hit as solidly as I think it did, or he should be bleeding more than I thought. Little thing starts to think, might have to switch up tactics.
well, so it's actually it seemed like you hurt it more than you hurt one of the other ones previously.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, yeah. So that was your movement and your attack. You want to do a bonus at all?
No. But I will keep. I just so you know, if someone attacks, because considering Gardain is right there with me, I mean, I'd do it for Critter too. I have reactions I can use to. So
cool. Yeah.
Because I have Sentinel and the Shield ability, so it's either or. But I'll probably, until something looks, considering this probably doesn't look that bloodied, I'll probably just Sentinel. I mean, protection it, giving them disadvantage and all that good stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. If I say something and you need to interject with your reaction, just let me know.
Will do.
That brings us to Critter.
And did you say one had come up on me, or he threw something at me?
He threw something at you. It was door number 2.
All right. Well, I'm going to run up to him again.
Okay.
Still going after this guy. Yes! First one's a nat 20. So the damage on it is 8, 12, excuse me. Yeah, 8, 12, 16 psychic damage on it.
How do you kill it?
I come running up to him, and I go right into its thorax, right into its throat. And I go to pull my blade out, and it's stuck. I put my foot up on its chest, kick it over the edge, and watch as the goo just flies everywhere as my blade comes flying out of it.
Nice.
Is there anything else close enough for me to get to?
There's nowhere to stand next to it.
Okay.
But there is one within your movement, but it is positioned as such that the brothers have it sort of cornered.
Okay. I can't do anything for them right now. Telepathically to the two of them. This one's down. You get the last one. And I'll start going over toward the shiny stuff to figure out what it is. Because I got a feeling we're going to have to hurry.
And once again, this time a little bit closer, you hear boom, boom. And one of these purple lights actually shoot up from below and crashes into this dirt wall. And much like when you were playing in the dirt upstairs, the chunk, it just kind of erupts out, and it shows behind this well-packed dirt, this loose dirt just starts to sort of pour in, and it's actually opened up a little hole. And then you hear first quiet and then extremely loud buzzing. And it sounds like it starts off to your left and then off to your right, everything below you. But you hear it, and as it's getting louder, you recognize the sound from the grab bag one. It sounds like there's
a lot of these things are starting to fizzle and buzz its way upwards. Gardane.
Going to use my axe to bring my spiritual weapon to bear down on this one.
Okay.
15.
Hits.
1 force damage.
Nice.
And then my regular axe. 12 again.
Okay. Did you bless with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 misses.
Okay. Well.
Very good. Ulthane. Muted, maybe.
Okay, there we go. All right. So the one my brother is still working on, unless it's dead. I don't think I heard it say. I don't think it's dead, is it?
Nope.
All right. All right. So I'm assuming a 15 hits.
It does.
15 to 15 for attack and roll 4 damage.
How does it die?
Wow, really?
Well,
Well,
that many hit points left.
Well, so considering it's occupied with the one dwarf, if for a brief second loses concentration on which dwarf he's fighting, we're both wearing armor, we both have shields. He swings at the one brother and he misses and all that stuff. And when he turns back around, it's like, oh wait, I had another one, and he gets his head lopped off.
Nice. And exactly, you lop the head off, and it falls over the edge. And your eyes watch as it falls over the edge. And what you see as you finally are looking down, you see a great distance down, lit up by these firebugs. You don't see a lot of detail. It's just very blurry, very hazy. But as you poke your head over the ledge, that sound intensifies. That buzzing sound. Let's see.
Is there another one in melee range? Because I can go help them as well.
That was the last one.
Okay. Well, I turned, looked to the other ones. I says, I think there's more on the way.
Critter.
So I made it to this pile.
You did.
Digging through. What is it?
Roll a d6.
A d6. 1.
You see 3 vials about the size of my pencil here, a little bit thicker around, of clear liquid.
Okay.
Let's see. Roll another d6.
2.
You see, kind of lodged in the dirt, this tiny little glass ball. Roll one more for me.
All right, here it comes. Big money. 2 again.
You see, as you're sort of sifting through it, your hand knocks on something, and as you pull it out, there is this strange apparatus with
a tube coming off either side of it, and it's this um, sort of rubbery apparatus, for lack of, because you can't tell what it is right away, but that sits right in the middle, that has two slits cut out on the front side, two slits cut out on the back side, and then two 6-inch hoses coming out the left and the right.
Bonus action. I'm gonna move my focus back over onto my celerity so that I get 10 more feet of speed. And since I'm not moving this round, I get my feline agility back.
All right. You see the light from below begin to black out. The fire beetles are not giving off light from what you can tell. From the hole that was blasted in the wall, you begin to see a thrycrean's head pop through, and one crawls out, held onto the wall, then another, and then the hole enlarges as they're kicking this dirt out of the way. And you just see 5, 10, 15, 30, 50 just pouring out of this. And all of them either clasped onto the wall, or they just begin to kind of fall to the ground. And that sound of rain that you put in the one thrycrean's head, everybody can start to hear those sounds as this buzzing, the volume just continues and continues to increase. One of them that's clasped to the wall, you see a shell on the back of it that just bursts open and 4 wings split out. Another. Then it comes off of the wall, and you can see it kind of wobbling to fly, and a couple of them kind of drop below your eyesight, but you don't hear it crash because that buzzing is just so loud. Then you guys see on the far walkway where door number 3, the one that got lit up that you aimed the cannon at, was standing. You see Catman Dude burst through, and he quickly is climbing up this wall, and he says, "I think it's time to go." And 3 of these thrycreans shoot out from right behind him, and they're sort of disoriented when they come out, and they all 3 at once slam the side of the wall, creating another small hole where this dirt starts to spill out, and you see a thrycreen hand, and it widens, and now they're pouring out of the other side of the wall, and this buzzing just continues to grow and grow and grow. And Ulthane, looking over the side, that blurriness that you saw is hundreds of these thrycreen with wings flying upwards to your level. What do you guys do?
Look at my brother. I look at Critter. I believe it's time to go.
Well, we've overstayed our welcome, and I'll fling my axe, and my spiritual weapon will disappear, and I'll start going up the hallway.
Running. No. Can I dig through this pile again, or did we get everything?
That's up to you.
So is digging through the pile an action?
Yes, because that would take at least 6 seconds to do. So the majority of 6 seconds.
Okay. Doing it.
Okay, roll d6.
5.
You see what looks like a headband with 2 sapphires placed an inch apart on one side.
Cool.
Roll a d6.
5 again.
You find a small little, it almost looks like a perfume bottle with a stopper on top, and it's all silver and ornate. Roll one more d6.
1 again.
You find let's see, another one of those vials with the clear water. They're not water, but the clear liquid.
Yeah.
And as soon as you pull that out, underneath it, it reveals what looks like an array of playing cards tied together with twine.
Take them.
Okay. So you still have your bonus and your move, unless you would like to continue to dig through this pile.
I haven't seen these bugs, and I don't know how close they are.
They are very loud, and Catman Dude is running. And some of them have started to come out of both of the walls.
Okay. Then I'm going to run. I'll spend 3 points as a bonus action to gain 30 feet of movement. And I run 80 feet.
Okay, with your 80 feet, you can get all the way up to the entryway.
Okay.
Gardane and Ulthane, what are you guys doing? Are you trying to push each other off the walkway?
What do you mean he push? He's trying to catch up with me.
What do you mean catch up with you? The moment I saw it coming first, so I would have left you in battle. But I can't just because dwarven pride won't let me just shove my brother off and go. They'll get to him before they get to me.
Yes, I push him off the ledge.
No, I grab it. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do like I saw on a video game once. I tie a piece of rope around his arm. He's gonna pull me off. I'm gonna pull him off.
You're gonna jump and bounce off of his head.
Yeah, yeah. There we go.
Totally
does that work?
This dude. So you guys are running for the escape.
Yeah. Do we? Is Critter inside or is he out of sight?
He blurred past you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. So in other words, so the that was okay. Cool. That was Critter. Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So we're move, move. I used I would like to take the turn GT. I'd like to take the action GTFO.
Okay. Can I copy and paste the response for you as well, Gardane?
Yes.
All right. So everybody, at the end of this round, you guys are now all 4 standing at that entryway.
The one that we lowered ourselves down into.
Yeah. So you'd have to essentially that initial first floor lookout. You have to go at least. You remember you got to go back 10 feet up this scale in this 5-foot tunnel, and then you'll get to the initial hole that you found.
Yeah. Ever how we have to get a GTFO? We're GTFO.
Perfect. Critter.
Okay, this is where it's gonna get weird. I'm gonna. All right. I'm gonna spend 2 points as a bonus action. I don't provoke attacks of opportunity, and again, a climb speed equal to my speed, so I can climb 100 feet.
Okay. What are you doing with that climb speed?
Aren't we climbing up out of this like we came down?
Yeah, I was just making sure that that's what you wanted to do. That's not a trick question. I'm just making sure that that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Cool. So yeah, at 100 feet, you're able to get out and up to the little room that had that statue in it. The dwarves are behind. They get through and they get to the base and can begin climbing out. Both of you guys give me athletic checks. Who gets there first? So probably Ulthane, I believe, would get there first. Instead of an athletic check, Gardain, give me a perception check. Gardain, you begin climbing quickly and handily. Or excuse me, Ulthane.
10.
All right. So as you're kind of running, just the not fear as much as self-preservation begins to creep, and you turn and look over your shoulder, and you see Catmandu doing something to that initial archway, and he puts something down and then steps back and then puts something down, then steps back, then sticks something and then steps back and then sticks 2 more things and then turns and looks at you as you're now make your athletics roll.
Uh, 13.
Okay. You would make it with advantage because if you're using the rocks.
Well, it was a 13 and a 1.
Okay.
13 was the best out of it.
Do you still have bless up?
I think it runs out after a while.
After 10 minutes? Yeah, it hasn't been 10 minutes since the start of the fight.
Okay.
This all the buzzing and everything happened during the fight. So you're definitely closer to the end of the duration, but it hasn't been the full duration yet.
Okay. Well, with that, I got a 14. I rolled a 1.
Okay. Very good. Well, yeah, you're able to start making it up. Ulthane, give me another athletics. Nice. So you actually get up to the top and are able to pull yourself out at this point. Gardain.
Okay. Athletics. 16.
Great. Cool. Yeah. So you're making it up at this point. You hear below you, Catmandu is beginning to climb as well. And you hear, oh, shit. Make another athletics check for me.
Can I have rope out? Toss that stuff down?
Yeah, if you want to.
Absolutely. Then while they were climbing, I'm throwing rope, trying to help. With something to brace on and having rope, that should be easy climb.
Yep. What you got for me, Gardain?
Muted.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was.
No problem.
Uh, 7. I believe I got a 9. If even that.
You do have inspiration.
Yeah, I think I will use it this go around. 15.
All right. Yeah, so you're able to get up to that same level, and Ulthane kind of pulls you out. And you see swiftly something coming up the tunnel. And as it breaks more visibly into your sight range, Catman Dude is easily making his way up now. And as the three of you might be looking down in the hole, he's like, we got to get the hell out of here. Move, move. And he's just coming. And finally, he pulls himself all the way out, and he reaches into his back pocket, and he bites the cap off of something and drops it. And as it drops, anybody looking down, he turns away, but anybody who's looking down can actually see this red light kind of bouncing down and knocking off of heads and arms and thoraxes and abdomen and things like that, as it's now falling between, I don't know, 10 to 12 of these things as they're all trying to get up at once. And as it finally lands at the bottom, you see it at the feet of one of these as it looks down, and the red light turns green. And as it does, you start hearing boom, 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 boom. And the 11 or 12 that were in this cave just kind of start to fall back down, and the whole structure begins to shake and rumble, and Catman Dude is hauling ass out. What are you guys doing?
Are these tracks easy to follow to get out of here?
I mean, the giant dirt mounds are probably easier to follow.
Running as fast as a dwarf has ever ran before.
And I'm going to do my thing. I'm dropping all the points I got to drop. And Kitty, feline agility.
And Catman Dude is just running, and he's just like screaming. He's just saying, "Run for your life!" And he sees you like pass him.
320 feet.
Yeah, you blaze by him.
I'm also back to full health.
So you guys get clear of this thing. Catman Dude kind of stops and turns around, and you see one of the Thri-kreen made it out, and he's starting to run out of this entryway as it collapses and drops down on him and just crushes him. And he's standing there and he's panting heavily, and he's like, "Oh my God. Whew. Oh, check it out. Check this out." And he's got this big burlap sack, and on it, it's got a big L and O emblem on it. And he's like, "We did it, guys. We got the Spikies back. I don't know about what else you guys are supposed to do, but they're not coming out of that hole anytime soon."
Well, I say we just go ahead and go back to town. Wait, what about the other one? Did you find the other one?
No.
Shoot. Well, I guess we try to make another attempt later, or
I think Mr. Ott, I think he'll understand. And as you guys are kind of walking out, he pulls out from a pocket on his left side those coins. And you see him, he spins the fanny pack around to the front and unbuttons them and pulls out a second sack of coins and then a third sack. And he takes one and tosses one to each of you guys. And he says, this is what Mr. Ott said to give you guys. So we all got out of there alive. I think you probably deserve it. And you get back out to the edge of the forest. And he walks, and you can tell he's a little down, a little sad. And he's not really paying attention. He sits there and he runs into something. And he pulls out that tiny little hammer and he starts tapping. And as he taps, he's tapping just in the air right in front of him. And this mist starts to reappear, and in front of you are the 3 horses. He pulls the top rod and the bottom rod out after untying the horses, closes them down, loads them into his sack. And at this time, trotting up is Craig and Cajun pulling your wagon that you guys originally had. And Craig's like, you ladies going my way? And I think that that's where we will end.
Cool.
You look like a pretty dwarf woman.
So thanks anybody who watches, especially thanks to the guys who put up with me while I DM. I appreciate it. We will be back in 2 weeks, barring any other vacations and or whatevers. Yeah. So again, thank you so much. Anybody who wants to say goodbye can say goodbye. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.
see y'all.
Bye.